What's going on, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I am back to finally get around to unveiling and unboxing / reviewing these. So I have both the Dungeon of the Mad Mage and the Guildmasters Guide to Ravnica Maps and Miscellany. So in this one, right after this little break here, we're gonna review the Guildmaster Guide to Ravnica one. I really don't know what to expect with these, so let's find out together. Alright, so here we have it in front of us. Let's go ahead and cut our package open here. Just gotta be careful because these are all paper. Let me get underneath this little lip here and see what we've got. Now I know what to expect, or at least I have an idea of what to expect with the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, right? That is, the whole book is just layers of different dungeons, so it makes sense to have those all printable. Also, we may have to, I don't know if this is all gonna fit on my desk here, but it's a 2-pocket folder, looks like, right? So we got our 2 pieces here, and then this says Precinct 1, side A and B, 10th District, B and or A and B, Precinct 2. So it looks like it's all precincts 1 through, I see 1 through 6. I see 10th District, Legion Garrison, Arrestor Station, Safe House, Rubble Belt Encampment, Undercity Mansion, Grand Basilica, Experimental Workshop, Notorious Nightclub, Vernadice Center, Franco's Hideout, Growth Chamber, Guild Charms, Random Characters, and then 2 of those. Alright. So, well, first of all, these are nicely laminated. As you can see here, here's the 10th district. So here it has, there are numbers, and I think you can see these, right? There are numbers throughout here in various spots. And it shows you the precincts here, 1 through 6. So that explains that. Chamber of the Guild Pact, Plaza Avenue, 10th District Plaza, Orzova, and so on, Gorehouse, Common, Fortress. And if we go to the back side, we've got, this says Precinct 1. Oh, whoops. There's 2 there. Let's go to the back side of the one we were actually looking at. Alright. So we've got our 6 precincts, and all of their like brief synopsis information here. The major tradeways, the Tin Street, the Trans Guild Promenade, and a little description about those. What to look for beneath the streets, sewers, and a transit system. We've got, let's see, sewers, pipe tunnels, transit tunnels, crypts. The Undercity has the Night Veil, Duskmantle, the Maze of Decay, the Dungeon Palace, and the Undersea. So this is a very brief overview of this. So this was, sorry, the 10th district. So as we saw here, there's Precinct 1. Then over here, we have a much more in-depth Precinct 1. And these are all, again, 8.5 by 11. They're very nicely laminated. I don't have any water here to test, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess these are waterproof, or at least water resistant. Here in Precinct 1, we don't have any numbers, but we do have some plaza, east, west, and south, and some locations, which we get some information here. We have the affiliated guilds, neighborhoods and landmarks, saw a little bit about law enforcement, and then random people you might find on the street. We've got an NPC table. We've got a little bit about what kind of goods and services. Practical items such as backpacks and lanterns are expensive and of the highest quality, bearing artisan flourish. Meals and lodging are suitable for wealthy and aristocratic lifestyles. That you can find in the player's handbook. So that's Precinct 1. I'm going to guess that this pocket is probably precincts, or I'm going to guess that rather this is what's in here and these ones are what's in here. So here's Precinct 2, Whitestone, New Prov, Griffin Heights, and so on. Similar. Basically, if you look at these 2 side by side, it's basically exactly the same. You're just going to get different information. Right here we've got bankers, nobles, diplomats. Here we've got arresters, bakers, carpenters, more blue-collar style folks. Alright, so I think we're going to probably be looking at stuff that's relatively similar as we go through. Precinct 3. Similar scenario. Affiliated guilds, landmarks, goods and services, and random NPCs to encounter. Precinct 4. A little bit shorter on the landmarks, but it's got pretty much the same info. Precinct 5. Similar yet again. And very nice art here. I like the kind of the color scheme. Alright, we've got Precinct 6. Similar again. So that's our 10th district and all of the precincts. Let's see what we got here. This is the arrestor station. So here, we've got a full, kind of in the old school, which it seems to be, I'm calling it old school, because this is kind of how older edition maps used to look, but this seems to be the way they're going with 5th edition. If you look back at something like, say, Horde the Dragon Queen, Princess of the Apocalypse, they're very in-depth, colored maps for everything. They kind of even detail, like, what you find in each room. Like, they'll show bookcases and all of that. I mean, I say then, but, like, that was all the way through Tomb of Annihilation. You had all that. With these new books, they're going more back to these old school. One, I can imagine that potentially, I mean, maybe not. There's a lot of little lines you gotta draw, but I imagine that this may be easier to do or faster rather than having to go back in. It's gotta be cheaper, right? You do this whole thing once in black and white and that's it. You don't have to go back in and ink it and color it and all of that stuff. And it's probably cheaper to print too, and that's probably why we're getting these kind of things, because these are cheaper to make. So you can see we've got what looks like several floors. None of it's actually detailed on what floor is what, but we do see that one square is 5 feet. And on the back here, oh, here we go. So we can see judges, so you could basically show your players this side, and the DM side has more information, right? Judges' quarters, prison, upper level, morgue level, arrestor headquarters, and here's a whole piece on what it is. And then here's a D12 set of adventures. So this could be, it's less adventure hooks, right? Break out of the holding cells. Protect a prisoner from assassins. Find proof that the captain of the station is corrupt. Some very high level concepts that you could take and expand into a whole adventure using these maps and using what you can get from the Guildmasters Guide to Ravnica book. Okay, this one is the Legion Garrison. Again, very similar, although we have more maps here and it's a little more open. And here we've got parapets. This is a rooftop. Upper tier, archives and storage, basement, lower tier. And then, again, a little piece on the Legion Garrison and some adventures. Lay siege to the garrison, shore up the garrison's defenses, identify a spy among the garrison's soldiers before they can escape. And last for this pocket is the safe house. So here we've got sort of a side view, circular chamber here. It doesn't actually tell us what that is, but I'm assuming that's a side view, or ground level basement. Here's the safe house info. Some wards that are on it. The safe house is underground and accessible only through a maze of tunnels. Surrounded by the guards and wards spell. Glyph of warding might cast fear, phantasmal force, crown of madness on a character who triggers it. Demir agents might use the alarm spell. And here we have find a fugitive hiding in this safe house. Escape from captivity in the safe house. Or find and kill a mind drinker vampire or other monster that is picking off the safe house inhabitants. Pretty cool concepts for some adventures. These folders also seem like they're relatively decent quality, the paper and the thickness of these, so I don't think it's going to be any issue of things breaking. This one seems like it's going to be a little more interesting, so let's check this out. Under City Mansion, you can see we've got our set of maps here. It looks like we got a river. We have, oh, this is the mansion, right? So here's all the different levels. Guest wing, this is like your main wing. Here's your ballroom. Under City Mansion info and some adventures. Rescue several citizens of being held by Ocran agents. Win a bet by surviving a night inside. Escape from captivity. Here you got an outside looking map. This is probably Celestia in some way because it's got trees. Nope, Rubble Belt encampment. Alright, so it's an encampment, an outdoor encampment. Not much to say. Bonfire, guard post, tower, pretty simple. Free a captive taken in a recent raid. Attempt to overthrow the clan chieftain in a combat challenge. Disrupt a gathering of clans that could lead to an alliance between them. Alright, we got this, oops, two here. This one, which is the experimental workshop. This could be something, again, these are obviously tied to Ravnica, and the background information you're going to find is specific to Ravnica. But you could easily drop, like, you need an experimental workshop for a kooky alchemist or inventor in your game. You could take this and just port this right into your regular game. Bizarre magical effects, like a wild magic surge. Everybody loves those. One or more objects have a random trick effect. Check the DMG for that. That's basically, I think, the beginning of the magic item section. Areas affected by guards and wards. Rooms and chambers are affected by random obstacles. Roll in the random obstacle table in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And some adventures. Rescue people trapped in the workshop. Capture or kill an elemental or an Is It Weird that is running amok in the workshop and making sure it doesn't escape into the city. Activate an invention being held in storage in the workshop. Some sort of, looks like a big meeting hall possibly here. The Grand Basilica, makes sense. Crypts and vaults, couple levels of the different spires, which is over here. More info about it. Steal or recover a magic item from the vaults. Escape from captivity in the Basilica's spire or crypt. Discover the fate of someone who was last seen entering the Basilica a week ago. Alright, a couple more here. Looks like maybe a house, maybe that's a net, I'm not sure. Ah, the notorious nightclub. Oh, those are cages. We got our cage dancers in our nightclub here. The entry, security. Here's hanging cages here. Backstage, got some private rooms. Wink, wink. Shut down a performance before the performers start attacking the crowd. Capture a performer who ran away from a prominent family to join the circus. That sounds very similar to the Acquisitions Incorporated live game that PAX Unplugged may have used these maps. Find an escaped convict who is rumored to be hiding behind Rakdos makeup. Circular tower, or maybe a tree? I'm not really sure. Vernady Center. This is it's a garden, so I was kind of right on that. Ascertain the number of military forces housed in and around the Vernady. Stop the Vernady whose tree is awakened and escape the control from its dryad. Okay, so this is, I think, Celestia based. Introduce a contagion into Mott Celestia through the Vernidy's tree or its dryad. So this is... Okay, so I'm learning a little bit about Ravnica from what I watched in the Acquisitions Incorporated Ravnica game at PAX Unplugged, and what I'm seeing here. Okay, we got another... This is the Growth Chamber. Alright. This seems to be... I see some different levels here. We see... Escape from the chamber with a Category 3 Crassus. Rampages through before breaking out of its growing pod. Stop a sinister experiment in progress. Capture a crazed simic scientist whose own body has been drastically altered by their experiments. I think this may be one of the... This is the last, I think, of the maps here. Big old... this is the Krenko's hideout. This could be any bandit hideout if you need it to be. Here's a goblin gang possessions. They might have ball bearings or poison or whatnot. And here's a goblin gang member. They don't seem too much different than a regular goblin. Although, yeah, not really sure. They look like they may be a little hardier, right, with 10 hit points. A little bit better dexterity, they'll do a little bit more damage, but not too bad. And then we've got our random NPCs. We've got some art here, and I don't know if you can make it out, but there is. You may be able to see it. There are perforations, so you can rip these and hand these out. So we've got all of these different NPCs. And then we can see the guilds they're attached to here, right? So this side is NPCs. These look like these are charms. Orzhov Charm. When you activate this charm, you can cast a Bestow, Curse, or Fear spell. Alternatively, when a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is reduced to 0 hit points, you can drop it to 1 instead. This Is It Charm. When you activate it, you can cast a Dispel Magic or Lightning Bolt spell. Alternatively, as an action, you can regain a spell slot a 3rd level or lower. That is like a great one-time use Pearl of Power, but better because it gives you certain spells. You activate this charm, you can cast Crown of Madness, Hellish Rebuke, or Shatter. Charm vanishes after you activate, so you get to see. It's kind of dumb to have the charms on one side and the NPCs on the other, since you can never use it for both. Same thing here. We can see we've got some Celestia type folks, just because I know like the Dryad, right? Celestia, Charm, Aura Vitality or Conjure Animals, Simic Enhance ability. Most of these are just duplicating spells, if not all of them. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is literally Miscellany, Maps and Miscellany, right? It is a bunch of maps and some miscellaneous other stuff. This does retail for $24.95 US. So I'm not sure if that's worth it. I don't know. I don't really plan to run a game in the Ravnica universe. I'm going to be using stuff from those books, mostly magic items and creatures, in my games. I don't think that this is really worth it for me. But I'm curious if you guys are running a game in the Ravnica setting. Is this something you'd want to pick up? Do you think you need this? I really don't know, because I don't know a ton about the world, like how integral it is to have all of that stuff written out in map form. For this, I get it, right? Like, there's 21 levels, 23 maps of Undermountain, right? Undermountain is a massive mega dungeon. If I can save myself the time of having to draw up all of those maps by having a quick reference guide, I'm all for that. This, I don't know. So we'll have to see how these are when we do the unboxing / review for those. But I am curious. Pass or you know, keep or pass on the Guildmasters Guide to Ravnica, Maps and Miscellany, especially for $25. I'm sure a lot of that comes from the print quality and the lamination, but still, I'm not really sure it's worth it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.